Old Guard is directed by Gina Price Bisewood and stars Charlize Theron, Kiki Lane, Matthias Schoenaerts, and Marwan Kenzari. And my apologies for mispronouncing a couple of those names. And it's based on the graphic novel of the same name and tells the story of a group of immortals who formed a military band of their own. And they go around taking the jobs no one else will. They do this in secret until one day their abilities are discovered and a pharmaceutical mogul decides to try and capture them and figure out what is the secret to their immortality. The Old Guard. Now, this movie, I was really hyped for this because I've actually read these graphic novels and I enjoyed them quite a bit. As far as I know, there are only like 5 or 6 of them, if I'm remembering correctly. But it's a complete story. And one thing I'll give this movie credit for is they do follow these stories in the novels quite closely. And it's not something you always see with films like this. You know, they take liberties, but they do follow most of it quite closely. But let's break it down. So first of all, of course, we have leading this group, Charlize Theron, Theron. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that properly. But either way you say it, this lady is an official badass. We've seen her in films like Atomic Blonde. Of course, she's the famous Furiosa in Mad Max Fury Road, and countless others like this. You know, she's made a name for herself as an action star, you know, just right up there with the rest of the boys. So she's quite believable and a perfect choice in my opinion for this role. And that's another plus to me is the casting. I'm a huge fan of Matthias as well. I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name again. Marwan Kenzari, he's so good here in comparison to what he was in Aladdin as Jafar. He was so terribly miscast there, but here he's perfect. And everybody chosen for this movie, I feel like they hit the nail on the head, even down to the villain who is after them, who I did not even realize he's from Harry Potter. That's Harry Potter's cousin. I mean, wow, what a difference age makes, you know. But yeah, I feel like based on their counterpart characters, they really did a good job in casting this movie. The action set pieces, while there are not like many of them, the big ones are pretty well executed. They're not on the level of, say, something like Atomic Blonde or John Wick or stuff like that, or even Extraction, but they are quite engaging, and you can tell a lot of work and effort went into the choreography, the fight choreography. Everybody brought their A game, and there's some really gnarly kills in this, you know. Not so much the CG stuff, but the hand-to-hand stuff that leads to some of these brutal kills. And of course, these guys are immortal, so we get to see them die over and over again, you know, in a few hilarious ways here and there. I'm talking about Nikki here, but I won't spoil anything. Most of this film is pretty much what I think any fans of the novels would have wanted. This is what I think we got most of it. The problem really lies in the tone of this film. This movie wants to have its cake and eat it too. By that I mean we do have some themes here of you know, addressing how immortality would affect someone. True immortality. I mean, you know, you see this every now and again in crap like Twilight and, you know, in Dracula and stuff like that. If you've lived for thousands of years or hundreds of years, what type of person would you be? You know, the loneliness, the lonely aspect of that, to watch all your loved ones come and go. If you do form bonds and form relationships, you have to watch people die. And one of the things about this story is they never really explain why these people are immortal. I, for one, like that. I know for some people it might irk them because, you know, you also have people out there who want to know everything. I didn't feel it was necessary, at least not right now. And it never bothered me. It didn't bother me in the comics. It doesn't bother me here. I really don't mind. But they do address, you know, how they struggle with immortality. Charlize Theron's character, Andy, she's, for one, well, in the comics, she's a lot more promiscuous. But that's fine, you know. She's spending her immortality just drinking and screwing, and she's cool with that. But it's how she copes, you know. We have Booker as well, who's actually has a bit of a tragic backstory. as well. And then we have Joe and Nikki, who were once fighters and now lovers. I'll leave it like that. I won't get into their backstory too much, but they have each other. And so you have the difficulties of dealing with something like that. And of course you have a new character, Nile, played by Kiki Lane, who she's basically us in this movie. She's the one who is learning everything as we go along. The emotional stuff is not, it doesn't come across very impactful in this movie. They do bring it up. There's not like they don't touch it at all. You know, they have conversations about their loneliness and their regrets, and if some of them even still want to be immortal, if they just want this whole thing to end. But the conversations never seem to have any real weight to them. You don't really feel that emotional connection. And I feel like it's because the focus seems to be more on the action. They definitely want this to be a big action movie because that's what Netflix has been pushing of late. And we're enjoying it. I'm enjoying it for one. But I feel like if they'd spent a little more time giving the actors, giving those moments time to breathe, then we could get invested in that. Another thing, as one of my fellow reviewers pointed out to me, is he felt like he never felt any sense of trepidation for these people because they're immortal. Granted, they're not invincible, and there is a rule to that whole immortality thing that, let's just say it's a gamble. Every time you die, you're not 100% sure you're actually gonna come back. I get what he's saying. You know, it's really hard to be afraid for a character when nothing can happen to that character. But overall, I would say that for me, The Old Guard was successful because the comics, like I said, they stick pretty close to the comics, with the exception of the final act. And I did take issue with some of the stuff they did there. I can see why they did it. You can tell they're building towards a sequel and possibly maybe a franchise of films in this arena. But I preferred the books. I'm one of those people, I guess. I preferred what they did with the final act in the book than what they did here. But I get why they did it. I really do. And I do understand that when you're trying to do a movie, you can't do everything 100% exactly like the novel or the graphic novel or whatever. So, you know, and I was like, okay, whatever. I'll let it slide. Overall though, guys, I really enjoyed The Old Guard. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't entertained by this film. And I think for people who have not read the books, are not familiar with the graphic novels, one, it might give them a reason to seek those out, you know, if they've been entertained enough by this. And two, if you're just going into this for some kick-ass action sequences, I think there's a lot there to enjoy. So I'm gonna give The Old Guard a 6.5 out of 10. I had fun with it, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't. And that's going to be it for this one, guys. So I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know what you thought of The Old Guard if you've seen it as yet. If you like this video, please feel free to hit that thumbs up button. It'll be much appreciated. For new subscribers, you can click on my face right over there, if so inclined. And of course, you can check out past videos. So until the next one, guys. Bye-bye.